There's something about mountains that make them feel eternal, like they've always been there, just watching silently, but sometimes they give up their secrets, and what they reveal is terrifying. From bodies frozen in time to mysterious mass deaths, these high-altitude places have hidden horror stories for centuries. These aren't legends, these are real events that were uncovered by accident long after everyone stopped looking. It looked like just a piece of scrap metal sticking out of the snow, but it ended a decades-long mystery. In 2001, a hiker navigating the Cowlitz Glacier on Mount Rainier spotted something strange, what looked like twisted metal jutting from the ice. Park rangers were called in, and what they found was chilling. It was the wreckage of a Piper aircraft that had vanished in 1972, along with 3 businessmen on board. For 29 years, their families had no answers. The glacier had hidden the wreck, preserving their remains and parts of the plane, and finally the mountain gave them back. It was like time had frozen at the moment of impact. When climbers reached the summit, they didn't expect to see a face staring back, frozen solid in the ice. In 2015, on Pico de Orizaba, Mexico's tallest volcano, mountaineers stumbled upon 2 bodies near the summit, perfectly preserved in the ice. Later, a third was found. The mummies still wore climbing gear, their faces locked in expressions of fear or pain. They were believed to be victims of a 1959 expedition that was caught in an avalanche. For decades, the mountain kept them hidden. Locals who helped recover the remains said it was like finding people frozen in the exact moment they died. You could still see the skin, the clothing, the story carved in ice. 6 hikers died in one of the strangest, most disturbing mountain deaths in modern history, and no one can explain why. In the Khamar Daban range of southern Siberia, a group of 7 hikers set out into the wilderness. Only 1 returned. When rescuers found the others, the scene was terrifying. Some of the dead had foam around their mouths, others were in their underwear, their bodies twisted and injured. The survivor said her friends suddenly began screaming and running as if something invisible had attacked them. Some theories blame hypothermia, others chemical weapons testing or a freak environmental reaction, but to this day the exact cause is still unknown and eerily similar to the Dyatlov Pass incident. For over half a century, mountain guides walked right over a missing airplane and never even knew it. In 1968, a small aircraft, a Piper Cherokee, crashed into the Swiss Alps, disappearing completely. Search teams combed the area but found nothing. Then in 2022, as glacial ice melted from a glacier due to rising temperatures, a twisted wreck suddenly appeared. Lodged in the ice was the aircraft's crumpled cockpit, frozen for 54 years, just meters below a popular mountaineering route. This reappearance was a shock to locals who had walked over it countless times. Even stranger, not all questions about the crash have been answered. They died in a war a century ago and are still surfacing, fully dressed and hauntingly preserved. In the Italian Dolomites, the White War of World War I was fought at altitudes of over 3,000 meters. Entire units froze to death in avalanches or brutal cold. Now, as the glaciers melt, soldiers from both the Austro-Hungarian and Italian armies are re-emerging. Some still wear full uniforms. Some still have blonde hair. Shrapnel can be seen lodged in their bones. The bodies had been flash frozen by the ice for over 100 years, preserved better than anything in a museum. It is a haunting reminder of a war that was almost forgotten. At first, people thought it was a mass grave, then DNA revealed something even stranger. Rupkund Lake, also called Skeleton Lake, sits high in the Indian Himalayas. It's surrounded by steep cliffs and almost permanently covered in snow. In the 1940s, a British ranger found hundreds of human bones at the lake's edge, at least 500 individuals. But recent DNA analysis revealed the real twist. The dead came from 3 genetically distinct groups, and they died in different centuries. One group was from South Asia, one from the Eastern Mediterranean, and the third from Greece. No one knows why they were here, why they died together, or how their remains all ended up in the same icy lake. It's the only place on Earth where people step over corpses to achieve their dream. More than 200 climbers have died on Mount Everest, and most of them are still there. Above 8,000 meters lies the death zone, where oxygen levels are so low your body slowly shuts down. Recovering a body from this altitude is nearly impossible, so many climbers remain exactly where they fell. The area known as Rainbow Valley is filled with bright-colored parkas and boots, now frozen to lifeless bodies. Some, like green boots, have become grim landmarks. New climbers use them as reference points, never knowing the full story of the person lying beneath the snow. A mountaineer stumbled across a treasure chest frozen beside human remains. In 2013, a climber on Mont Blanc saw a small metal box poking out of glacier ice. Inside was something he never expected: a collection of emeralds, sapphires, and rubies still sparkling after decades in the cold. The treasure was traced back to Air India Flight 101, which crashed into the mountain in 1966. Many of the passengers and their belongings were never recovered. The gems were valued at around $300,000, and local authorities praised the climber for turning them in, but they also reminded the public that mountain still holds human remains, and not everything lost has been found. If you found a treasure chest with $300,000 worth of jewels, would you turn it in or would you keep it? That's my ethical question for the comments today. Let's discuss. Scientists expected ice. They didn't expect 15,000-year-old viruses. At an altitude of 6,000 meters in Tibet, researchers drilled deep core samples to study ancient climate data. What they found was a hidden ecosystem of viruses, 33 of them to be exact, and 28 had never been seen before. These viruses had been frozen for over 15,000 years, completely sealed off from the world. Scientists worry that as glaciers continue to melt, ancient pathogens could be released into the modern environment, ones our immune systems have never encountered. It is definitely not science fiction, it's actually already happening. Locals say the mountain screams at night, and they might be right. On the slopes of Mount Elgon, an extinct volcano on the Uganda-Kenyan border, lies a cave with a disturbing reputation. This cave has been the source of eerie, unexplained noises for generations, wailing sounds echoing from deep within the cave. But what's scarier is what's been found here: evidence of deadly viruses. The cave is one of the suspected birthplaces of Marburg virus, a cousin of Ebola, and in the 1980s, researchers who entered the cave were later infected with the virus, some dying within just days. The mountain may not just be screaming, it might be warning us. Alright guys, that has been our list for today. Thanks so much for checking it out. I've been your host today, Olivia Kozlowski, and I will see you again soon. Bye!